Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Listening and Responding. This is where we look at following the way of Jesus in everyday life. And there are 167 hours outside of Sunday morning, and there's lots of opportunity for us to practice. So this past Sunday, there were two threads that were making their way through the message I shared. And one of them it was that we're in the middle of our story. And the second one is that we can choose. As hard as it might seem at times, we have free will. That's a gift that God has given us, free will, free choice, and we can make a choice. And so what we focus on, what we choose to focus on matters. And so I just want to look at this from a slightly different lens. And this is what I want to encourage you to dig in this week in your own life. And so again, from one of my favorite theologians, C.S. Lewis, in his book, Mere Christianity, he writes this. He writes, good and evil both increase at compound interest. That is why the little decisions you and I make every day are of such infinite importance. And so he's basically saying where I put my deposits, how I decide how to use my time and my energy will grow exponentially. What kind of plants I am planting will determine the fruit, if any, that I will get. And then he goes on to say in that same section, the smallest good act today is the capture of a strategic point from which a few months later you'll be able to go on to victories that you've never dreamed of. Which is why I said on Sunday, no matter what you are facing, no matter what you're going through, keep sowing seeds into God's kingdom purposes, and that will pay off in the future. So seeds are your time, your talent, and your treasure, so your money. And Galatians 6, 9, and 10, this is where Paul says, he says, and don't allow yourselves to be weary in planting good seeds, or in some translations it says doing good, for the season of reaping the wonderful harvest you've planted is coming. Take advantage of every opportunity to be a blessing to others, especially to our brothers and sisters in the family of faith. And then lastly, in this quote, so I've brought it into three sections. The last thing he says is an apparently trivial indulgence. So what might seem insignificant in lust or anger today is a loss of a ridge or a railway or a bridgehead from which the enemy may launch an attack otherwise impossible. So where we give energy and focus and allow ourselves to become overcome by, let's say, anger, can open us up to an attack from the enemy that would otherwise not be possible. And this connects to something else I learned yesterday about the words for sin in the Old Testament. One of the words is iniquity. There's another word, transgression, but the one I want to focus on is iniquity, and it consists of three Hebrew letters, and I'm not going to try to say them, but the three Hebrew letters, the first one means your eyes being open, the second one means like a fish hook, and the third one means to multiply, so like more and more fish. And so essentially whatever your eye hooks into will increase in your life. And so what you set your vision into, your affection to, or whatever you hook your appetite into will grow in your life. It's not so much about this behavior is bad or that behavior is wrong. You are responsible for whatever grows and multiplies in your life based off where you focus your attention. So pay attention to what you long for, where what you want, where you look for shortcuts, and where you accept things. That is going to multiply. So that's it. What you and I choose today, especially in the smallest things, determines how we finish tomorrow. How you and I finish tomorrow. And so it's 1,000 little compromises that leave us compromised. So I remind myself, stop the little compromises. Stop lying. Stop justifying poor behavior. And this reminds me of the verse from Song of Solomon 2:15, which I find so encouraging when I think about these things that come at us. And it says, you must catch the troubling foxes. Those are the compromises, those sly little foxes that hinder our relationship, for they raid our budding vineyard of love to ruin what I've planted within you. Will you catch them and remove them for me. We will do this. We will do it together. And so I love that. We will do it together. But the encouragement is to catch those foxes. So the word I have sensed that the Lord has given me this year, for the year, is shore up those vulnerable places to protect against attack. And I've shared that before in a message earlier in the year. And as I see God unpacking this more and more, at this time, the encouragement is to put your focus on the things of God, of His Spirit, and not the things of the flesh. A focus on the things of God means more of the things of God. And a focus on the things of the flesh means more of the flesh. So again, good and evil both increase at compound interest and they grow exponentially. So where you put your focus is so important. And so what can we do, right? What can we do? So we can keep our eyes on God and ask for His help. We can do it with Him and not turn away from Him, but turn to Him. He so longs to help us in this. He's gone ahead of us. Like I shared on Sunday, He's gone ahead of us. He will help us. And so my encouragement for us today is no matter what you are facing, to keep your eyes on Him and ask Him how He sees you and what He wants you to know today. Work with Him to remove those little foxes that would try and steal your affection and His affection for you. And so bless you as you go into this week. Bye for now.